welcome back to my channel. Sorry that I'm looking like this, hair in a ponytail, but I came on here to looking like this to show you today's video. Today's video is all about contouring. Now, we're not talking about contouring. Well, hello, Finley. How are you? Finley, my golden doodle, is right here. I'm not sure you don't think you can see him, but he's right here wanting some love. So anyway, getting back to the video, today's contouring is not making you look like Instagram 20-year-olds glam contouring. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the everyday contour for the everyday woman. So about 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to learn how to contour my face. Now, the reason that I wanted to contour is because you can see I have a round face. I hate to use the word fat, but my face can be fat. I carry weight in my face. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have recently lost about 70 pounds because this past summer I had gastric sleeve surgery. If any of you would like to know about my gastric sleeve journey or would like me to do a Q&A or discuss my journey, please let me know below. I will be glad to answer any questions. I'll be glad to do a whole video about it, but I digress. That's not what this is about. But as you can see, I have a round face. So I wanted to learn how to contour my face easy, not complicated, for every day to make my face look slimmer. So that's the reason that I contour on the daily. It's not because I want to look glamorous or because I want to wear all this makeup. It's basically trying to make me look the best version of myself. And I think that's what makeup is all about anyway, is us trying to look the best version of ourselves. And by doing that, we make ourselves feel good. It brings confidence. It makes us feel like we are the best on a daily basis. So I realize when people think about contouring, they can get extremely overwhelmed. And yes, that was Finley yawning. He's right here, right there. Anyway, it can be very overwhelming. The contour powders, the bronzers. Do you want to do a cream contour? Do you want to do a powder contour? What brushes do you use? It's very overwhelming. So I'm going to show you what I have discovered to be the absolute simplest way to contour. And then I'm going to go a step further if you want to make it a little bit extreme, a little bit more in-depth contour. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So let's get started. So what I have on my skin right now is I have put on my primer, I have put on my foundation with a beauty blender, I've done concealer under my eyes, and I've kind of spot concealed some redness and set my face with a powder. And that's it. So at this stage of my makeup game, I would then go in with a bronzer. Now, before we get started, I wanted to tell you, if you see me looking over here, it's because I have a mirror over here, and that's where I'm going to be looking while I put my makeup on. So first, you want to pick a bronzer. You do not have to go high end with this because I have discovered probably one of my favorite bronzers of all time is from the drugstore, and it's the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I love this bronzer. I recommend it. It's not that cheap of drugstore. It's going to hit you around $15, but you can sometimes find it on special. But if I were blindfolded and not know what kind of bronzer this is, I would think that it was more expensive than what it is. It is a great bronzer. It's easy to blend. Plus, it's not a very warm toned bronzer. It's kind of a cooler tone, which means you can use it and double it as a contour. And I'm going to show you how to do that. A couple of other favorite bronzers that I have is the NARS Laguna. It too is not a real, you can see I've hit pan, not one place but two. I love this bronzer. I would definitely repurchase it. It is kind of a cooler tone bronzer as well. I highly recommend the Laura Mercier bronzer. I find that it is very, very easy to work with. I have a deluxe sample size of the Bobbi Brown bronzer. It's very nice. This is medium 2. Of course, the Chocolate Soleil bronzer by Too Faced. It smells of chocolate, and it's kind of a warmer toned, but it's definitely a great bronzer to use. And then another all-time favorite bronzer of mine is the Hoola by Benefit, which is great for contouring because it does kind of have a slight cool tone to it. And probably my all-time favorite bronzer is the one by Chanel. This is the Soleil Tan de Chanel. It is a great bronzer. And more recently to the lineup, or to my lineup I should say, is the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze, Film Star Bronze and Glow. And it is a beautiful bronzer. It's a kind of a lighter bronzer, so you can build it up easily. If you have a heavier hand, it works great, and especially if you're a beginner and you don't want to go in too extreme. But for today's video, I am going to use my beloved Butter Bronzer. So what I would do is I would take my MAC 135 brush. You don't have to use this brush. Any kind of fluffy brush that's tapered like this will work. I'm swirling it around in the bronzer. I'm going to tap some off, and I'm just going to start warming up my cheeks. What you want to do is you want to warm up. You're kind of making a 3. You want to warm up your skin. Now you saw before I started doing this, my face looked rather flat. This helps give your skin, give your face some dimension. I do it down on my neck, underneath my chin, and I do it some on my nose because that is where the sun would hit. We want this to look natural. Okay, so now my skin is warmed up with the bronzer. So what I would do now, the simplest way to give you some contour and give your face some more definition would be to take a loose powder. This is the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder. You get this at the drugstore. It definitely doesn't break the bank. There are plenty other loose powders out there. You can get the Cover FX, the Laura Mercier, the Chanel, the La Mer, the RCMA. There are tons out there, but I just grabbed this one because I've been using it a lot lately. What I do next is I would take a dense brush. This is by Real Techniques. It is called the sculpting brush, and you see how it's got denser bristles, and it's got kind of, this has got kind of a slanted head. You don't have to have that, but this is just the one I picked up. So I am coating my brush with that powder. I'm going to turn my head and I'm going to carve out that contour. See how I did that? Put a little bit more on, carve out that contour. I also use this to set my under eye, so I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to go to the other side and carve out that contour. Now I'm not going to leave this powder on. We're not baking or anything like that. I'm going to take the brush that I used on for my setting powder earlier, and I'm just going to dust that away. And there you go. You can see how I have some contour. And how easy was that? That was just using bronzer. Now, if you want to step up your contour game, which I usually do, sometimes I just do this, like on the weekends, if I'm just hanging out, I do this. But sometimes, usually on the daily, I like to step it up. I want my face to look thinner. That's what I'm going for, is a more defined look. I want my face to look skinny. I don't think my face will ever look skinny. It's a round face, but I'm certainly going to keep trying. So what I would do next is what I would do before I do the powder is I would put some contour powder on. Now, if contour powder scares you, you don't have to use a specific contour powder. You can use a bronzer. One of my favorite ways to contour is with the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. I use this a lot. When I first started contouring, I didn't want to go out and buy an expensive contour powder. Y'all are going to die when you see what I used. I used a MAC eyeshadow, and this is Wedge. See how it's a cooler tone? It's great for contouring, and you don't have to worry about going and spending a lot of money because these come in under $20. Plus, your contour brush fits perfectly in the eyeshadow pan. So this is a perfect color for contour because you want it to look more like a shadow. You don't want it to look bronzy. That's what the bronzer's for. You want it to look more like a cool toned shadow. A couple of other ones that are great if you're looking for an actual contour, I think you cannot go wrong with the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder. Now, I only have it in the palette, but this is it right here. I think it's probably perfect. If you are wanting to go and you're not worrying too much about your budget and you want a contour powder, go get the Kevin Aquan one. You can get it. It comes in just a little container by itself. I would highly recommend that one. If you're wanting to go all out and have a great contour palette, the Anastasia one is by far my favorite. You can use these on this top row here to set your under eye, to do a little highlighting, and these are great for contouring. But to show you today, I'm actually going to use the MAC eyeshadow in the color Wedge to show you how I contour. Now, like I said, I would do this before I would carve out with the powder. I would definitely do this first. I would first bronze, and then I would do this next step. I wanted to show you first, though, how you can achieve a contoured look without using a contour powder, just by bronzing. But I'm going to show you now what you would do before the powder step. So here we go. This is the contour. I believe this brush is the contour brush by Real Techniques. So you just dip it in there like that, tap it off, turn your face, and you just want to accentuate right there on that, underneath that cheekbone. It's very subtle. You don't want to look like you have these stripes down your face. My favorite place to do it is right here. I like to define under my chin. I like to give me some definition. And then I don't have a very big forehead, so I just kind of lightly contour my forehead. If you have a larger forehead, you may want to do this more, but for me, it's more important to get here on the sides and underneath my chin. And then you can also contour down the sides of your nose, under your lip, and you would kind of need a smaller brush for that. I don't really do that often unless I'm like going out at night or I want to look more defined. But it's very simple. You just follow, turn your head and follow. And I don't go much further than probably, I would say, the end of my brow. You don't want to come out here because you don't want it to look like you have a beard or something. You want to just stay very close. So after you would do that is when you would go in and carve out with your powder. And if you feel like you have some distinct lines, take your bronzer brush and do some blending. Make sure everything is blended out together. So that would be the simplest way of how you would contour. Now, I'm going to go jump off camera, do my eyes real quick, throw on some blush, highlighter, and lipstick, and come back so you can see the finished result. So this is the finished look with my eyes and everything done, and you can see the contour. I put some blush on and some highlight, and this highlight is the first time I've ever used this one, and it is on. I mean, look at that. It really is. But yeah, so that is the easy contour way that I contour on the daily to give my face more definition, make my round face look not so round. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please comment down below. Introduce yourself if you haven't already. Let me know what videos you would like to see. I love talking to all of you, and I'm really enjoying making videos and communicating with everybody. So I hope, as always, this video finds you having a great day, a fantastic week, and I will see you all soon. Bye!